Hi everybody, I am James the Man's Man, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Man's Kitchen. Today we are doing yet another elimination challenge from Masterchef Junior. Last week they did the Tilly Burger. And what's the Tilly Burger? Well, Matilda is Gordon Ramsay's 15-year-old daughter. And apparently she's a big deal. She's got a cooking show in the UK, and she's got her own cookbook, and she's only 15. Now, I'm 32, and I shoot YouTube videos out of my house. Wah, wah, wah. I know, I'm a little jealous, but she's got some skill. I'm not going to deny that. So we're going to start off with, we're going to do a little view over of everything I have on the table here. I've got stuff to make pesto, I've got stuff to make mayonnaise, I've got the burger meat. She stuffed it with mozzarella cheese, I've got some mushrooms, and in the corner behind you where we can't see too well, I got some potatoes cut up to make some fries. So she had a very complex burger with all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna start by making some pesto. And what's interesting is when she does this stuff though, all the stuff's kind of made. So I hope this is big enough. We're gonna get the basil, whatever, Parmesan cheese, pine nuts, garlic. Okay. We're going to hook this up to the bottom of our magic bullet. Not working like I thought at all. Maybe the basil needs to go in last. Yep. So pause for 1 second. So I grabbed another cup, and I'm going to get the basil on the bottom this time. There we go. Okay, and you know, to make it a little heavy too, so I was going to puree this, dice it up first, and then add the oil. I'm just going to put a little oil in there to add some weight. Okay. Oh, pause. Okay, so that cup was broken. It didn't have its little safety tabs. So we paused the video. I dumped it all back into the original cup, threw the broken cup out, and then dumped it into another cup that has the safety tabs. Otherwise, the bullet won't engage. This would be better if we had a food processor, but we don't. Now it's starting to get chopped up a bit. Normally you would open up the top of your food processor and then you would add a bit of oil as you go. So we're going to put about half the oil in now. We're going to put this back together, and we're going to give it another couple blitzes. And you can see in here the pesto starting to form. Put the rest of our oil in. So yeah, if you're going to do an upside down blender like this, yeah, you want to put your basil in last so it is closest to the blade. Oh yeah, it looks like a smoothie almost in there. So now we're just going to add a little salt and pepper. Not much, just enough that fits in between the cracks of my fingers. We don't have a lot of product here. A little bit of pepper. And we're going to give it one last blitz up just to get the seasoning in there. Okay. We're going to shake it up first and get it down at the bottom. taste it. Basil-y. Very basil-y. So we're just going to set this off to the side now. Next up, where did I put my little, here it is, mayonnaise. So to make our mayonnaise, we get our egg, lemon juice, vinegar, and mustard. Grab a whisk. We're going to ask camera wife Heather where the whisks are. Okay. So, found my whisk. It was in the dishwasher. It was in the clean dishwasher. I should really look for this stuff before we start. So we're going to start whisking this up. Sorry about that, but somebody came to the door. So basically, while camera wife Heather was attending to the door, I was still standing here whisking. And now that we have this frothy mix here, what we're going to do is we're going to slowly add some oil while we whisk. Just a little bit of oil. And we're going to keep on mixing. And we're going to let that incorporate. What you're doing here is you're emulsifying it, and what that basically means is what's going in here naturally wants to separate. And the only way you're going to get it to stay without breaking is by just putting a little bit in at a time. So we're not going to stop whisking. You can do this in a food processor. If you're going to do a larger batch of mayonnaise, go for it in the food processor. And you just open the top up and you just start pouring in your oil while the machine blends it for you. And each time you can add more than the last time. So if you started with, say, 1/8 of a teaspoon on your first addition, then you can bump it up to 1/4 of a teaspoon your second addition. You might want to keep it at 1/4 of a teaspoon your third. But basically, by the time you're done, once it's half in, you can do the last half all at once. If you're doing a smaller batch, if you're doing a larger batch, you just want to keep a slow, steady stream. Okay, so we have our mayonnaise here, and we're just going to add a little salt. And a little pepper. Okay, so we've got our mayonnaise. We're gonna give that another little taste with the wife hated me using the baby spoons. That's good too. So we got our mayonnaise, we got our pesto off to the side. Now, what we gotta do is we gotta get the burgers going, we gotta get the fries down. So, they had little rings to press their burgers together. I don't have any rings. And I'm gonna make 8-ounce burgers here. We're gonna cut into our ground beef. Turn the flat top up just a bit. I had that pre-warming, and just like I had my oil on the back pre-warming for the deep fryer, which I got a little hot, so I turned it off, and now I'm letting it drop down. You don't want to use the olive oil for deep frying. It's got a low flash point, or a low smoke point, and we would smoke the house out by now. Okay. So I'm just using regular vegetable oil. I've got 8 ounces here of ground beef. So on the show, they had little ring molds. They put them down on their counter. So what I'm going to do is and this cutting board's perfect. It's just got Parmesan cheese on it. And I don't know who doesn't like Parmesan cheese. So we're going to roll this up. And this is what I'm going to do at home for my burger press. Now that I have this rolled out, I'm going to put it on a plate with parchment paper. I'm going to put some more paper on it. I'm going to put another plate on it. I'm going to come down to eye level here, and I'm just going to press until the burger gets to be about as thin as I want. See? There, I have a burger. I want it a little more thinner. But what they did on the show too was they made a hole. Okay, this is what Tilly did. She made a hole. She packed it in with some cheese. Okay. Then we're gonna shmoo it up here with a little more fresh meat. Put this on, and we're gonna finish pressing. Now you're gonna notice I put my hand in that cheese, which means I pretty much need to use all that cheese up now. That cheese has been contaminated with raw meat. Burger 1. And on the show they only needed to make one, but I can't make one burger here and feed a family with one burger now, can I? I need to make a few. So I'm going to roll these out. What am I going to get out of this? 1.3 kilos. So about 4 pounds. I'm going to get about 4 burgers out of this, give or take. One of the kids pulled a goof, and he forgot his cheese. See how it snaps back a bit? I don't know if you saw, but it snapped back a bit on me. Yeah, one of the kids on the show pulled a goof. And what did he do was he forgot to put his cheese in his burger, and they had to start all over again. And they had 45 minutes to do this challenge, and he's running into the back pantry to get more ground beef with like 10 minutes to go. Surprisingly, I don't think he was eliminated. Yeah, so it's going to come apart at the side a bit, so we're just going to pack in those sides with some more meat. If you got one of them fancy presses, go for it. I spent an hour going to 3 different stores yesterday to look for one for myself. And if I found one, I wouldn't be using parchment paper and dish plates right now, would I? So I have my potatoes. I never showed you cutting these because we cut these ahead. But basically they're just russets. They're cut nice and thick because Tilly did really thick fries. So I got my fryer oil here with a fryer oil thermometer, and I have a fire extinguisher just in case. And I'm going to put these potatoes in. These are raw potatoes. They haven't been blanched. So at the restaurant, when we run deep fryers, we set them to 350. And the commercial deep fryers are a lot bigger, and they hold their heat a lot better. So I'm probably going to do this in 2 batches here because I don't want this to overflow on me and become dangerous. So I'm going to do this in 2 batches here. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm not putting anything else in there. Otherwise, we're going to have an accident. I'm going to turn the heat. See, now I'm tempted to turn, you're going to be tempted to turn the heat down because you're thinking it's going to boil over, and it won't. What happens is if you turn the heat down, see, my temperature's already dropped. I was already up here at the deep fry, and I've already dropped down to 180 Celsius or 355 Fahrenheit. And that's a good temperature, 350. So when you're using such a small space, you want to have your oil hotter than you need, because that oil literally dropped 40 degrees by adding those potatoes in there. So we're going to move on to step 2. We're going to cook up our burgers. I've had this preheated, and what they did was they had a grill on theirs. A grill's fine and all. I just don't have a grill pan. I have have just a flat top pan. Grab myself a rag that the wife's not going to care about. Get some oil spread around. So for those of you that can or can't hear her muttering under her voice in the background, she's saying, I do care about that rag. I do. Okay. We're going to come to our burgers. There's no seasoning on these yet, so we're going to get some seasoning on here. Salt, some pepper. Now, what I like to season these a little different. I love cumin on my burgers, but this is a replication challenge, not a do-what-you-want challenge. Grab ourselves a flipper. We're just going to pull the stem out of these. Okay. We're going to get a little bit of oil on these. Okay. I know what you're going to say, James. We saw your hand, your left hand, with that raw beef. Yeah, you did. And now I'm putting my raw beef contaminated hand on the mushrooms that I'm cooking up right now anyways, and my right hand stayed beefless. So I'm just going to wash my hands up. Okay, so basically what they did on the show was they cooked these, most of the kids that had their burgers cooked right said, oh, I cooked it for 2 minutes on each side and then I put it in the oven for a few minutes. So, who am I to disagree with a bunch of 8-year-olds? Put a little seasoning on those mushroom caps. Okay, you can see we're starting to get some color in the bottom. These burgers. And if you look at our oil in our fryer, and I got this set to power boil still. This is as hot as the heat as I can make. And we're in the fryer zone. Okay, you can see our fries are starting to get golden brown. Okay? You don't want to let them cook too long, but some of these are pretty big. You might want to consider blanching your fries first. I know some people don't like to blanch their fries, some people swear by it. Now what blanching would be if you were cooking these fries at a lower temperature, say 280 degrees, you would do them there first at 280, and what's going to happen is that you're going to cook all the inside potato meat. You're going to take them out of the fryer. You're going to turn the fryer up to 350. You're going to let it fully recover. And after it fully recovers, you're going to have your crispy fries. So we're going to grab a bowl out because we're going to get those first batch of potatoes out. Ooh, I got 2 bowls. Okay. Always remember when you're working with hot oil, you want to be as careful as possible. Okay, if you have pets in the house, put them somewhere where they can't come by. If you have kids running around the house, put them somewhere where they can't come by. Because this is over 3 times as hot as boiling hot water. I cannot emphasize how bad I would feel if my kid or my dog got burnt by deep fryer grease in the house. Okay, I would feel horrible because it would be 100% my fault and 100% irresponsible. Okay? Now I know that my fryer oil is going to take exactly what's in here because I put half of it in, so I don't really have to worry too much about the height. And if you have a deep fryer at home, I would assume you would be using that. We happen to not have a deep fryer at home. Here's what we're going to do. I'm in about 4 minutes with these. Here's what we're going to do first. we're going to get a little bit of spray. Burger. Burger. Mushroom. Mushroom. Off. We're going to pop this into the oven for about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, now it's time for assembly. So we're going to come in. I have placed some more cheese on the burger, so we're going to take our buns out. Okay. I just put extra cheese on mine because that's what I like. I'm going to get rid of the water on these mushrooms by turning them over, and we're going to put this back in the oven to finish melting the cheese. Okay. So, I believe she started with some pesto on the bottom of the buns. I really am not quite sure. I watched it Friday night and it's Monday morning now. Oh. Now, we're going to take a burger. Now, I temped this a few minutes ago with an instant read thermometer. It was about 140. And I know down south in your U.S. market there, you guys like to eat your burgers a little underdone. In Canada, you actually can't do that. It's against our health code. It's weird because this is a place that allows you to eat raw milk, but our meat has to be, our ground beef has to be well done. Okay, so now we're going to take our mushroom cap, and I believe the next thing that they did was they made an aioli. So she took some of the pesto. She mixed it with the mayo, called it an aioli. I believe that got spooned into here. Okay. Next up was the salad, an arugula salad. So we got our arugula in there, a little bit of oil. Okay. I'm using white balsamic vinegar, a little bit of vinegar, a little salt, a little tossy toss, a little bit of salad on each one. Okay, we're going to put a little more pesto on our top. Pause for 1 second. Sorry, but we have to pause because I'm running out of space on the hard drive on the phone. I think we only have another half a minute for me to finish this before the phone runs out. So I got my fries. Nice, big, thick. And honestly, I put them in the oven after they were finished in the fryer. We got our top. And we got a knife here. Okay. And there we have our burger. You can see the cheese inside plus the cheese on top. And this is the Tilly burger. Now, is it any good? Matilda knows what she's talking about. I'm going to enjoy this, and camera wife Heather is going to enjoy this one. Thank you, and have a good day.